I'll be your host for the webinar today. We'll be shortly starting the webinar on leveraging modern IT service management on the cloud, in which we will capture one of our customers' experience of BMC Remedyforce platform. Our presenters for today's session are Chad Haftorson, Director of Remedyforce Products, BMC Software. We have Stefanie Causey, Director of IS Solutions Delivery, Aspect Software. And we have Uday Birajdar, CEO, Vyom Labs. Without taking much time, I now hand over to Chad to kick off the webinar, and I request all the participants to post their queries in the chat window. We'll answer your queries at the end of the session. We hope that the webinar will be worthwhile your time. Over to Chad. Go ahead, Chad.
Thanks, Siva. Great introduction, and I'm really looking forward to the content we're going to be able to provide out to everyone today. I'd just like to take a couple minutes to kick off and give everyone a little bit of a background on Remedyforce before we jump in and Stefanie and Uday give you some real-world examples of usage and implementation of Remedyforce. It is a full-functioning IT service management application delivered 100% on the Salesforce App Cloud. And what that means is we've built a native application using all of our knowledge of ITSM. BMC has been in the space for 20 plus years. We've leveraged all of that intellectual capital we have around IT service management and how to do that on a new product that's available in the cloud on Salesforce. That allows you to leverage your Salesforce investments very closely with Remedyforce, whether that's around the security and trust of your applications, its integration with things like Service Cloud or Sales Cloud, or its other App Exchange applications. But what we've delivered is that full ITSM solution that goes all the way from service request and self-service through knowledge management, incident problem change, a robust configuration management database to allow you to really analyze change requests and manage your configurations in your environment, while also providing backbone capabilities around service level management, asset inventory, and of course very easy real-time analytics and surveys as well. Because we are on the Salesforce platform, you're able to leverage a lot of the key capabilities around mobility, around chatter for collaboration, and the platform itself for very easily configuring and customizing the application in ways that are very easy to support as you're upgrading the application, as we push out upgrades twice per year. You'll hear more about these throughout the presentation, but one of the key, or several of the key things that we hear from customers about why they go with Remedyforce, we really focus on allowing customers to get rapid and significant usage of the product. So we're constantly evolving Remedyforce, adding new capabilities and functionality, and we deliver those through push upgrades that customers are easily able to adopt without having to go through a lot of effort. The upgrades are pushed and very easy to just take advantage of new functionality as it is pushed out to the customers. We build this also in a way that makes adoption very easy as well. So we try to build the application to make it as easy to implement and configure so that it's very quick for customers to start realizing benefits. What we've seen with this, we've seen an increase in self-service use compared to what we see with other BMC products or other products in the industry. Self-service is key, of course, to driving down costs of how you manage your customers and the requests that they have. We've also seen increases in customer satisfaction over the previous solutions. At the same time, while we deliver a product that's quick on the innovation schedule, easy to implement, we've made it powerful as well. So we've added tools, and you'll see some of these throughout the presentation, to reduce first call resolution, decrease the mean time to resolution as well. So we're always looking at ways to make you more efficient with your IT service management. And then, of course, we're focused on extending the platform, the Salesforce platform, and allowing you to leverage that investment along with all of the other capabilities that are available in Salesforce. We're very partner-friendly with Remedyforce, and one of the great things about this particular topic we're talking about today, you'll hear about some of the things that Vyom Labs has been able to do to really help customers get the best value they can out of the Remedyforce application. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Stefanie, and you guys can start to hear real-world use cases.
Thanks, Chad. As earlier mentioned, my name is Stefanie Causey. I'm with Aspect Software. To give you a little bit of background on who Aspect is, we are actually the leader in the enterprise space for call center or contact center transaction solutions or interaction solutions. So we actually deliver to four of the top 5 commercial banks, to many of the top telecom providers, pretty much across if you start thinking Fortune 500, we're very deep in delivering our solutions to those types of customers. Ultimately, we have multiple different flavors. We have an on-premise solution, but we are significantly focused on moving towards the cloud and or a hosted private cloud type model for delivery of our products to our customers. So just to, again, continue to give you an idea of what Aspect looks like and what our corporate IT and managed services teams are responsible for, we currently at Aspect have somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,800 plus employees that are spread throughout the globe. Obviously, each one of them has their own workstation that we have to support, and on average, we have 1 ticket per month per employee that comes to our corporate IT department. And then the other side of our business, I specifically am in our corporate IT. I also have mentioned our managed services business. Our managed services business is responsible for supporting essentially our hosted customers. So our hosted environment gives us the ability to deliver pretty much any of our software solutions in a hosted environment. So anything, it could be on-prem, it could be a cloud, it could be some combination thereof, but ultimately we put it on in our data centers and then provide that service to provide our solutions to our customers as a service. And they provide, proactive manager. They are constantly doing audio check. They're monitoring the solution, but ultimately they are responsible for supporting this hosted environment. The managed services group is made up of 2 teams. There's the NOC, where we have 12 team members that report up under our cloud operations organization, and they're responsible for kind of the day-to-day monitoring of the hosted environment. Then we also have our managed services program office. They roll up under our CTO arm, and there are 9 members of that group who are responsible for managing the relationship with our end customers that are on the hosted environment. This is a global team. We do have resources mostly focused in Orlando, Florida, and in India. Pretty much, as I mentioned, any Aspect on-prem or cloud product can be placed in this hosted environment. So just to give you a little bit of background on how we chose Remedyforce, where we were before we chose Remedyforce, and give you a little bit of some of our challenges. So essentially, prior to Remedyforce, we were on a very antiquated Amdocs environment, had not been upgraded, was highly customized. Nobody knew how to really use it. Nobody could report out of it. We couldn't get metrics easily. It took a developer to go behind the scenes and extract data, and it was just very painful. It was not a tool that worked for us going forward. We also had no common processes. Different people across the organization would reach out to IT in about 50 million different ways. I'm sure anybody who's had a global organization understands it's anything from IM to email to, oh yeah, I know how to self-service, I'll go open a ticket, to call the help desk, to reach out to your favorite IT person who's in a different time zone. We also had a lack of integration between these processes. We had a pretty weak change management process. And that when you start talking about our managed services environment is very important, because they are essentially needing to make sure that their customers or the company's customers understand what's coming, what changes are coming, and has a process to manage those incoming change requests, as well as communicate back out what is actually changing. We also have very different tools. So as I mentioned, for IT, we had Amdocs, but nobody really used it. And then on the managed services side, it was a interesting mishmash of a SharePoint site with some Excel spreadsheets and some tools to give some insight into the health of the NOC, or the data centers, but there really wasn't one place to go to kind of see and be able to report and track on the issues that arose. In essence, what we needed was a tool that would seamlessly integrate all of these kind of different aspects of our organization, bring it all to integrating, or giving us the ability to integrate with our true customer support software, which was Salesforce Service Cloud, or is the Service Cloud on Salesforce, and making sure that we kind of had all of these tools working together and all these different arms of our organization working together. So ultimately, our goals boiled down to first building a cloud-based ITSM platform to support both our internal IT and our managed services customers. We wanted to be able to standardize our change management processes based on ITIL good practices, and then also implement extensive use of asset management for both internal corporate IT and managed services. And we wanted to be able to capture all of those interactions so that we could definitely understand what everybody was working on, and we understood where all of our problems lie. So some of the driving principles, some of the things we definitely focused on, is we had to improve our efficiency and turnaround time. We had to be able to identify potential areas for improvement or areas for focus, so that we invested in the right portions of our organization to ultimately get faster and better at what we do. We also wanted to make sure we adapted best practices, and we focused on the ITIL framework. So just for a little bit of context, I actually have about 6 or 9 certifications in the ITIL framework. So for me, I got to play a little bit of a consultative role with our entire organization to help make sure we were focused on the right things. And by choosing Remedyforce, it comes in with so many of those best practices already baked in. It made everybody's life much easier. We also wanted visibility into our processes. We wanted to make sure, are we streamlining processes? Are we doing all of the right things? Are we capturing the right metrics? Are we making sure that we're always focused on getting faster, better, stronger, and continuing to drive customer satisfaction with our customers? We also, I'm sure you can imagine, since we're a software company, we have a lot of technology-savvy employees and customers in our organization. So we wanted to build a framework so that we can get to the point of self-service with our customers. We also wanted to be able to scale up to support an ever-expanding scope and size of service needs, just to get our hands around this proliferation of applications and systems. The group that is supporting both managed services and our corporate, infrastructure and business applications is, we run thin. We do our best to try to meet the needs of most of our organization, but we needed to be able to scale up quickly, and the Remedyforce.com platform gave us the ability to know we could go there. And then ultimately, it all boiled down to my boss coming and driving out throughout our IT organization the need to decrease operational costs while also focusing on customer satisfaction with service management innovations, and all while driving towards a cloud-first strategy. Overall, one of our #1 tenets is cloud first and cloud always, and as much as possible, we decrease our investment in on-premise solutions. So just to give you an idea of the people that were involved in the project, obviously it started with Jim Haskins, who is our CIO and my boss, and then he tasked myself and my peer, Bob Walker, from a managed services perspective and from an IT perspective, with driving out these improvements and understanding processes and ultimately driving as clean as possible implementation of Remedyforce that set us up for the future. Underneath Bob, he had Judith Walker, who was very involved in driving out what those processes look like from a managed services perspective. And then she had Steve Petrowski and Ariel Valdez, who were available to her to do a lot of the day-to-day heavy lifting to figure out, okay, now we're going to implement these, document and implement these processes. Then underneath the IT arm, you'll notice that there are two multiples listed on this slide. If there's one area where I will take total ownership that slowed down our implementation of Remedyforce, it's because I didn't have dedicated and consistent team from IT on the project from start to finish. We had some swap outs on the project manager, we had some swap outs on the development resources. And because of that, it took us longer than it should have for us to get live. Then I also had a dotted line responsibility for Bill Black, who is the person who runs our end user support and help desk, and then Chris Perez, who is kind of the SME and team lead for the help desk. That's a pretty skinny team there. Now, as you can see, one of the things that we have started to be able to do, I hope you'll remember I mentioned early, that we couldn't get to reports and AMDocs, certainly not easily. What we now have the ability to do is we track this dashboard in Salesforce every day. It is something that gets refreshed every day, and the executive IT leadership is constantly looking at these metrics to make sure, are we on track? Are we achieving our goals? Or do we have a possible area where we need to focus, more resources or more attention to ultimately drive better customer sat and better efficiency? One thing you'll notice, there's a couple of line graphs there around age trend and around first call resolution. Those actually went up at the time that they did because we are continuing to push more and more email addresses into Remedyforce directly. Where previously those were distribution lists that people were monitoring, now we're starting to push those more and more into Remedyforce. A really high level of adoption across the organization. We kind of enabled a lot of our customers to continue to communicate with us via email. We've just gotten really smart about shoving that stuff into Remedyforce. The good news is, so far, if anything, everybody's very excited about Remedyforce, our capabilities, and are really looking forward to the future and how we can better utilize Remedyforce going forward. We've got quite a few initiatives around how we can automate how chatter to groups that are IT groups can turn into tickets. We've got a lot of grandiose ideas, and we're really excited about them. All right, so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Uday, and I look forward to hearing what he has to say.
Thanks, Stephanie. You have heard our customer talking about Remedyforce and the implementation that basically we did at Aspect. Now let me talk a little bit about Vyom Labs and go into details like how we did this implementation and kind of benefits the customer got. And I want to just repeat what Siva said. If you have any questions, you can type those questions in the chat window which is available, and we'll take all those questions towards the end of this presentation during Q&A. So about Vyom Labs, we are specialists in Remedyforce implementation support. We are certified partners of BMC for Remedyforce. We help customers throughout the ITSM journey, from their ITIL initiatives to gap analysis to providing consulting and providing the solutions around BMC and implementing those, and post-implementation supporting as well these solutions. We have global footprint, and we have delivered BMC projects across the world. And we have expertise not only in Remedyforce but other BMC products which help in areas like discovery or monitoring and cloud lifecycle management and things like that. We are one of the largest practice in BMC. We have 300 plus consultants. We delivered the 500 plus projects and carry all those experiences, which we help our customers getting most out of BMC products. One of the thing to note here is that not only that we implement BMC solutions, but we work with BMC's R&D and product support to help them in the new releases of the products, and we work on those releases much before they are available to the customers. We have built products on top of BMC or which work which help you get more out of BMC products like Automation Edge, which help you automate service desk ticket. I'll talk about that a little bit later, and few other products which are BMC's market zone products. We have got awards for our implementations in BMC partner forums. Little bit about our implementation approach. We focus a lot in terms of ITIL good practices and basically bringing in that gap analysis and current state assessment kind of things before we go into technology and actually implement the product. This helps basically bring in the stakeholders mindset, understand the stakeholders, what they kind of have the pains, what are the priorities of the organization, and accordingly design the solution and kind of implement that. This approach of ours, where we emphasize, give a lot of emphasis on the stakeholders mindset, we have basically put a lot of emphasis on user adoption, is mentioned in Gartner report. And if you are a Gartner customer, you can go and search the link which is provided here on this page. And you will get to know about our methodology and the words Gartner has, good words for Vyom Labs. And we help customers in terms of reports and design in such a way that you can kind of present a business value rather than just presenting the IT value from the reports for business stakeholders. The project basically was in two phases or for two different units within Aspect. One is for internal IT and other was for managed services business. As you have heard from Stefanie, the managed services business is essentially about providing support to their customers, Aspect's customers who are on their hosted platforms, and while internal IT is to support the business users of Aspect, the internal users, corporate IT. The scope for corporate IT was entire suite of product of Remedyforce, including the modules like incident management, service request management, service level management, tasks, CMDB, knowledge management, and all these modules. While the scope of the project for managed services business unit was change management and CMDB. So one of the important thing what we did at Aspect is leverage the cloud platform, Salesforce platform they had, the Service Cloud, and bring in that traceability between what you are getting it from while supporting the issues which you are getting while supporting your end customers, and when you are providing the support to those customers. Many a times the issues are related to IT. So you should be able to bring in those particular cases from your customer support to IT support, and where Remedyforce is good at in terms of all ITIL good practices, and you can really do a good job in supporting these cases if there is a underpinning thing is to support the IT aspects. So, there is a button provided within Service Cloud cases wherein the support staff can convert those cases directly into Remedyforce ticket as a change ticket, and then they don't have to do a copy paste and kind of switch actions between two different systems and things like that. That there is a traceability between Service Cloud case and corresponding IT ticket in Remedyforce. So I talked about this, is the case is converted into a change request within Remedy, and then there is a CMDB and CIs and associated life cycle. We handled it, and the important thing about CMDB, which comes along with Remedyforce, is that you will be able to do things like collision detection, impact analysis. So along with the change, you can associate that change with assets and CIs, which was one of the important things for Aspect when they are supporting such large customers of theirs, and to ensure that the hosted environment of their applications is up and running and there are no failures because of the downtime because of the changes. So this feature became very handy, and it helped them kind of bring down the downtime. So this is how the case to a change conversion is. If you see many parameters coming in directly from change from a case in Salesforce Service Cloud to a Remedyforce change ticket. And those changes basically go through different approvals, and those approvals we have configured based on the change category and change type and things like that. And the other group, as I talked, was for internal IT, corporate IT, where we implemented incident management, helped them streamline the good practices of ITIL. As Stefanie talked about, there were different tools within IT itself. People were calling to their favorite person or sending an email. So, and the distribution groups, the requests are coming into. So, and everybody following different processes. So what this brought in is with the service request management, as Chad talked about, one of the good things which Remedyforce brings in is the increased use of self-service. And that helps reduce the cost and bring in uniformity the way the business users interact with IT. So we implemented those modules and implemented the task and CMDB for internal IT. So this is how one of the service catalog, service request looks like, and one of the important service requests for Aspect in terms of employee onboarding. So this is where the employees get the first impression about the company, the time in which they get all the accesses and they are up and running. It helps in terms of the morale and the impression about the company. So if you see the way we have designed the form, the users get access to different business applications and license applications and things like that. And one of the important things in the implementation is the way you design your service catalog, because it lot depends depending on how you have designed the service catalog. The usage of service catalog will increase if you have used the right words and the terminologies which your end users use it, business users use it. They will tend to then they will use more of self-service rather than calling IT or sending an email. This is how the project was executed from the workshop and assessment to implementation to go live and then post implementation support. It basically we had certain delays because of the changes within Aspect in terms of the people allocated, but we accommodated those and ensured that the timelines are met as far as the business expectations are concerned from the business. So this is before and after. Before we implemented Remedyforce solutions, we all heard from Stefanie how challenging the scenario was in terms of the processes and different processes being followed by different groups and different business units. To when we implemented Remedyforce, it streamlined that, and all the ITIL best practices come baked in with Remedyforce. It's a certified tool. It helped kind of institutionalize the best practices and use them in the organization, enforce them in the organization. Earlier, the incident management was largely manual to now where there is automation in terms of the processes, and when it goes from service request to incident or a change, and implementing those change, updating the CMDB assets and things like that. So it helps greatly in terms of resolving the things faster for the users, bring down the mean time to resolve and all such parameters. Change management was manual, and there are a lot of challenges to now where it is automated and the multi-level approvals are kind of put in, and there is a traceability from a case to a change ticket. there was no central repository of assets and CIs to now where there is a centralized repository and one can associate the CIs and assets to change, and that helps in terms of the collision detection, impact analysis, root cause analysis, and helps bring down the downtime. And then there is a multi-tenancy being configured, so there are distinct views for corporate IT support staff as against the managed services support staff, so they don't see each other's data and the tickets. So once we the things are live and Aspect is using it, so we are talking about next level of enhancements and next level of efficiency, how we can bring in with already what they have invested in Remedyforce. So we have a product called as Automation Edge. It's a service desk ticket automation solutions, so which will help Aspect in terms of increase the self-service further, because what the users will get is a kind of a digital workplace experience, the way we get that experience in our personal life. When we order a cab using Uber, you get it right there. You can see where the cab is and how much time it is coming, and few minutes you get into the cab. So same way, if I interact with IT and if I request for a service, if I'm able to get those requests resolved immediately, that will be like a wow thing. And that's what this Automation Edge brings in, is that, for example, this employee onboarding request is still, when the request is filled, there is somebody in IT going and creating those credentials and users on those different systems and applications. Instead of that, once automation is implemented, it will help those tickets getting resolved automatically and without human intervention. That's it from my side. Now we'll open the session for Q&A, and if you have any questions, again, you can type those questions in the chat window, which is available, and we'll take those questions one by one. So one of the question is, how is Remedyforce licensed? So this is the question for Chad. Chad, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to take that. Pretty straightforward. So we have a very simple licensing model. You have what we call staff users, who are the people assigned to incidents, service requests, change requests, etc., make updates to the application, manage those requests. Those are your licensed users, and then for each one of those, you have 250 self-service users. So those are the end users requesting through self-service or submitting an incident, checking status, approving requests, things like that. So very straightforward. You get access to all of Remedyforce with a staff license, and you have 250 self-service licenses come with each one of those.
And if I might just kind of throw in here, for those people that are familiar with Salesforce licensing, these are actually Force.com licenses. They're not full Salesforce licenses. So the cost can be significantly less depending on which version of Salesforce you're on.
Yeah, that is a fair point. From a technical standpoint, they are Salesforce platform licenses as opposed to Salesforce licenses.
So the next question is, has Aspect implemented single sign-on, and how easy it is to kind of have a single sign-on achieved with Remedyforce?
Actually, we have. We implemented One Login as our internal corporate IT identity management solution, and essentially every employee that comes on board automatically gets, at a minimum, an employee community license. And then as part of our employee community, we have exposed the Remedyforce self-service tab within Salesforce itself. So once an employee starts, all they have to do is go to One Login, they click on the Salesforce tab, and Remedyforce is just shown to them as another tab within the entire Salesforce solution.
The next question is, how easy it is to create new reports in Remedyforce if they are not available out of box, and how rich are the out-of-box reports?
So I will say the out-of-the-box reports are actually pretty rich, and as far as how easy it is, it all depends. If you know Salesforce, it's a drag-and-drop interface. You go in, you say, I want a new report, and I want incidents. That's one type. and then it's a drag and drop. It's got a pane, shows all your fields. It's easy to filter. Now, I will say, in the Salesforce space, about 10 years. So for me, building new reports, I can create new dashboards in about 45 minutes with all the underlying reports. For somebody who doesn't understand the data model, I'm IT, so I'm going to start getting technical. If you don't know the data model, you don't know how it's pulled together, it might take you a little bit longer, but there's a wealth of training available on Salesforce to just learn the basics, and then it's just understanding what it is you want to report on.
Right. So that's it. I think if you have any more questions, you can send those to info@vyomlabs.com, and we'll be happy to answer those. And with that, Siva, do you want to have a closing comment?
Yeah, hi. So, all right, great. So, hope the webinar was worth your while, all the audience. Thank you for joining us. We will keep updating you on our various webinars in the future. Thank you very much for taking our time. Thank you, all the presenters. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Stefanie. Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.